We've had some wild deliveries with music.
Early on in the hypnosis course, 27-year-old Jamie Weiss, a first-time mother-to-be, had high hopes for how it would help her delivery.
I think I'm going to stay in control and be able to talk and make jokes.
That's the fairy tale version.
I always wanted to be Cinderella.
But a month later, when Jamie was 34 weeks pregnant, 6 weeks before her due date, her father died suddenly after a massive stroke. She began having serious doubts about whether the hypnosis would work for her.
I called Dr. Goldman and I said, I can't do this. I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack, like, you know, my heart is going to come out of my chest.
Then something else Jamie couldn't control. The couples were supposed to learn how to handle complications during birth in the 6th and final hypnosis session.
We never went to our last one.
We didn't make it.
6:25.
Just one day before the last class, almost 3 weeks before her due date, Jamie's water broke in the early hours of the morning. These pictures were taken at home shortly after it happened.
A little bit of problems here.
We didn't even have bags packed. But we weren't running around crazy. We both stayed pretty calm. I went over the Edison Bridge on the way to the hospital. The time says, what now?
6:40.
6:40.
Even though Dr. Goldman believes in hypnosis, he's still a regular physician who can and does use all the tools of conventional medicine.
We're ready.
When 8 hours later, Jamie still hadn't gone into full labor, Dr. Goldman decided to speed things up with a drug called Pitocin, which can also make contractions dramatically more intense.
I looked at Dawn and thought, great.
It wasn't long before her contractions started coming a lot faster and a lot stronger. But Jamie showed no signs of discomfort.
I keep telling myself with every one I'm getting closer and closer, even though I know I have a long ways to go.
In spite of worries about how the stress over her father's death would affect her concentration, Jamie, her father's picture next to her bed for good luck, was listening to her mood music and going deeper into hypnosis.
Dr. Goldman had told us that the more often your contractions come, the closer you get, you go deeper, and I did. I just feel like I got pulled into that tape.
Jamie, who just a few weeks earlier was on the verge of panic attacks, unable to concentrate, was so focused she was unaware of other family members in the room, or another woman in labor wailing down the hall. 12 hours into labor, Jamie's contractions were coming every 2 minutes. We checked on her progress with Dr. Goldman down the hall.
With 12 hours of work under her belt, she doesn't even look like she's breaking a sweat yet.
Seconds.
Can't walk.
At 14 hours, she was walking around, even laughing.
I don't have any pains. I have some pressure. It's not that bad. Nothing I can't bear.
15 hours into labor, she seemed alert, but in fact, she had lost all track of time.
I said something to him about the 3 contractions that I had to stand there, and he said, you didn't stand there for 3 contractions, you stood there for 4 hours, and I had no idea.
After 17 hours of labor, the ultimate test of whether the hypnosis worked, Jamie's contractions were at their peak. Though she had taken a drug that makes contractions more intense, she'd had no pain medication whatsoever. For most women, a time of total agony. She was so calm, when Don's mother went into the labor room, she thought something was wrong with Jamie.
And the first thing she said is, my gosh, what kind of drugs is she on?
I heard her say, what did they do to her? And I said, I'm just relaxed.
All right, it's about 4 minutes after 11 and you're complete. We'll see how quick you can push this sucker out.
Jamie remained in control, never a cry or even a grimace.
Good, and now make yourself very deeply relaxed.
At times, she even appeared to be asleep. Remember, she never learned Lamaze breathing. She'd had no epidural, nothing, not even a Tylenol for any discomfort.
Very good. Save up your energy. You've got all the power in the world.
Because she remained relaxed throughout her 18 hours of labor, Dr. Goldman says not only were the contractions less intense in spite of the Pitocin, she had also conserved energy until she really needed
Start to
it.
bring your legs up then. Take a breath.
Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10.
Take a breath and push.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Good girl, keep pushing it.
6 and
After 29 minutes of pushing,
9 and 10. One more big breath.
Push down. That a girl.
Jamie and Don met their son, Jaden.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, now relax. Relax. It's going to come out by itself now. Take a look at your baby.
Here the baby comes.
Hi, Mom. There's an arm.
And it is.
Here it is.
Outside woman.
You're opening your eyes so big. I don't know how, but I just stayed real relaxed from the beginning, and I think that's important. And every time I felt a contraction, I just pictured my whole body go limp.
Here's what you worked so hard for.
Washing my hands. Yeah.
I think I could have probably lifted a house. I felt that powerful.
Contractions about 7 minutes apart.
5 weeks after Jamie, Valerie went into labor.
And there they are.
And despite her and her husband's fears, everything was going well.
Getting ready for the big one.
Valerie was able to relax and concentrate on her special place at the beach. Until suddenly, at the height of her contractions, the baby was facing the wrong way. Dr. Goldman had Valerie lie on her side. The baby did move into the proper position, but a lot faster than anyone expected.
You're going to feel a lot of pressure.
The whole plan had fell apart, you know. I mean, she went from 7 centimeters to fully dilated in about 45 seconds.
Situation.
None of the room was set up, and everybody's running around.
Just us getting our stuff together.
In the chaos that followed, Valerie couldn't concentrate and was coming out of hypnosis.
Pick this up a little bit more now.
Did you lose it?
I didn't lose it. I was a little panicked.
Had Valerie and Scott gone this far only to fall apart in the final moments? It was starting to look like a replay of what happened to them 4 years earlier.
How did you refocus then?
As soon as Dr. Goldman came back in and reassured me what was happening, then I felt so much better.
Now you're going to feel a lot of pressure. You just give into it and you let it come down. You've done absolutely beautifully. You rotated that kid. Didn't take long at all.
Within minutes, Valerie was able to relax again. But Scott, who was still having flashbacks to the delivery the first time around, was so tense, he sounded more like he was coaching football
Come on, push.
than the birth of his child.
Come on, you got it in you. It's just because the first time she had made a comment that I don't know if I could do this, and I just wanted to keep her focused at that point.
Remember how Valerie looked shortly after her first delivery? Bloated face, pounding headache, and severe nausea. This time, there were no signs of that nightmare experience. Valerie looked rested, relaxed, even peaceful.
About 3/4 of the head out. Okay?
Concentrate on what
Okay,
you're doing.
now, with the next contraction, we're going to do the shoulders, okay? Okay. Now the shoulders.
After 7 hours of labor, Scott and Valerie's new daughter, Logan, arrived.
Okay. Now give me a tiny. Okay, we're done.
Oh my gosh.
Good job, Val. Now relax.
Man, I want it.
You're done. You did it. Thanks, Paul.
Scott, come here. Thank you.
It's a very warm picture of labor and delivery, as opposed to the picture of pant, 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 blow, 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 and the wife saying, get out of my face.
Some weeks later, we sat down with both couples and Dr. Goldman to talk about whether hypnosis met their expectations.
You said your sister was going to call you when you were 6 hours into labor and you would be screaming for an epidural.
Never. I was gone. I literally felt like I had an out-of-body experience. My body just almost felt weightless. I really felt just almost like I was floating.
Val?
It went great. We talk about it. We brag about it. We're just, when someone tells you their horrible experience, you feel sorry for them, but we're like, well, listen to ours. This is great.
It was the hardest work I've ever had to do. I had to make myself stay focused, but I stayed with it.